Hello everyone, it's Jess. I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to my channel where I help you strengthen your art skills. Today we're going to be painting a little alcohol ink painting. And we're going to be using the Jacquard inks. We're using Baja Blue and Rainforest Green with the Maxative Gold. We have some little cups that we're going to be using to hold some alcohol in. A disposable eyedropper. And I'll leave all the links for the items in the description below. And our Yupo paper. We're using some transparent 5x7 Yupo paper today. I really like working on this. It's actually plastic, it's not paper, so the ink stays right on top and it just floats on very nicely. Next up, we have our Isopropyl 91% alcohol. You can get that at any drugstore. So I'm just filling up one of my small containers with clean, pure alcohol. And this is what I'm going to use my eyedropper in. And trying to keep this container as clean as possible. Next up, we have our airbrush. I will leave a link in the description box below. You do not have to use an airbrush, but it is handy. I'm also going to be using a heat gun very sparingly because this transparent Yupo paper does not like heat. Now we're going to start by just applying some alcohols directly onto the paper. And we're going to be using our airbrush to start out with. Now I like the airbrush because it gives you a very soft, controlled look, where the heat gun gives you more hard lines, harsh lines, and so does the blow dryer. The blow dryer can be a little overpowering. That's why I like the airbrush. I can really control how much air comes out and move it in different directions. Just watch the paint flow. So now I'm just working the ink back and forth from left to right, swirling the brush back and forth in little circular motions. And then when I have enough paint towards the edge of my paper, I'm going to pick it up and bend it slightly so that the excess paint will go into the paper towel, just like so. And my goal here is to have very soft, translucent edges with some nice, hard textures towards the center. Now some alcohol inks, before you use them, you do need to give them a good shake, especially if they have a little ball inside. A lot of the metallic inks will have that little shaker ball inside, so give them a good shake. So now I'm just swirling my airbrush in small circular motions, adding a little bit more alcohol. And just swirling that brush. Alcohol inks are so forgiving. If you don't like something, you can always just add a little bit of pure isopropyl alcohol to that area. Swirl the paper around either with your tool that you're using, or you can pick up the paper and just swirl the paper with your hands. You can use a straw, you can use your mouth to blow. There's many different tools that you can use, and each tool is going to give you just a little bit different of effect. Not every tool is made to do the entire job, so when you combine the tools together, you get a much richer finished piece. So once one section is completely dry, then I will move on to the next section, add some more isopropyl alcohol, then a drop of the alcohol inks into that section, and work it slowly around with the airbrush. I like to start far away from the paper and then work my way towards the paper as the ink dries. Little circular motions back and forth. It's very relaxing. Art is definitely my escape. I can't control what's going on in the world today, but I can control these alcohol inks, and it keeps me sane, so. You gotta do what feeds your soul, right? So let me know what you think about these colors. Leave me a comment in the section down below. And just say hi, I want to get to know you guys. Do you like these videos? Do you like the length? So leave me some comments down below and let me know how I can improve these. So I didn't quite like that line right there, so I just added some straight alcohol, swirled that paper around, and I'm just working the brush back and forth from left to right, almost like north, south, east, west, almost going at a diagonal around that area. As you're working, it helps if you take a picture of your artwork and look at the picture on your phone or on the computer or on some kind of device versus just looking straight at your art piece, because sometimes you can't see things that you need to add or take away or keep working on when you're directly looking at it. Same thing happens if you look at it in a mirror. There's things that you can see, it's a different point of view, and your eye will catch the composition much quicker, and you'll know exactly what direction you'll need to start working in. So that's just a little art tip. So as I'm working, I keep looking in the, I have my computer set up where I can see myself recording. So I'm looking at the composition, I'm looking at the colors swirling, I'm looking where my lights and my darks are going. And if I don't like something, then I know that's the area where I need to fix it. So for majority of this background and this soft effect I'm getting, I'm just using the airbrush because that's going to give me the softest effect. And once I get towards the center, then I'm going to switch tools and get a different effect. I really like what the heat gun does, but I do have to be careful with this transparent Yupo paper because it will make it warp. So I did a beautiful piece yesterday, and Just got a little carried away with the heat gun and my poor paper warped. So I'm gonna see if I can possibly iron it out, making some towels. I don't know, we'll see. It's all experimenting. You don't know unless you try. You don't know what works unless you fail. So here's my heat gun. I'm going to switch up some tools here. And now this I'm holding directly above the painting, and I'm holding it a good 4 or 5 inches away. I'll go down to the painting where I want that specific area to dry and then lift it back up. Give it a second to cool off. I'm even using my mouth in between here and I'm blowing. Or I'll switch over to the blow dryer and just use the cool shot on the blow dryer if I see the paper even warping a little bit, just to cool it off. I'm dragging my eyedropper on the alcohol, or on the paper, excuse me, and I'm just kind of feeling with my eye where I want this ink to form. I know it's getting it all covered up anyway, so because if I didn't put any alcohol over that area, you could see little scratch marks from the eyedropper, so we don't want to see that. But just for my eye's sake, where I want this alcohol ink to go and to dry and form, I will use that eyedropper just kind of as a pencil, if you will. So I'm going in little circular motions and then letting it cool off for a second. Going down, little circular motions, letting up, letting it cool off, and repeating the process. And there's my little art assistant grabbing some art from the bookshelf over there. So here's the blow dryer. Do have to hold the paper down because it does want to take off, and the blow dryer does give obviously a more broad direction of air, but it's good for just overall drawing. It's good for large pieces. I mean, if you have control over that blow dryer, I'll go for it. For me, I feel like it just shoots out maybe too much air. So I do use it occasionally, but I stick with the airbrush and the heat gun most of the time. So now it's all about just adding layers and layers and layers. So we're just adding depth into the middle of that painting, and we're going for a diagonal flow here. And now that there's a couple layers built up, now we're going to start adding some gold in there. And I did shake it up, but actually the first drop I put on, I was like, oh, I need to shake that up a little bit more. If you get some of those chunky pieces in your artwork, that's just the ink didn't get shaken up as well as it probably should have. So always remember to give your inks a good shake. So I'm very gently bending the corners of the paper to give it a nice organic flow. I'm just seeing where this ink wants to go. And now it's just a delicate dance between blue and green and dancing back and forth, back and forth. I'm adding less isopropyl alcohol towards the center of this painting. And just like before, taking that airbrush and just swirling lightly, swirling lightly. I never know what I'm going to paint on top of the alcohol inks once it's done. I kind of just have to study it and stare at it and see what image could go with the organic movement that the inks have created, and I kind of go from there. Oh my goodness, I can't get over the gold and just the organic flow of it all is just breathtaking, and it's so relaxing and just puts my mind at ease. I did this painting about 8:30 in the morning, and I just get my cup of coffee, come into the studio, start recording. I'm still in my pajamas. That's the best. Working out that hard area. I just put a little bit of alcohol on that hard spot there and just swirling, 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 softening it up, and then using the airbrush on top of it to finish drying and softening the area. Just like before, if I had too much ink in one area, I can always just add some straight isopropyl alcohol to that area and just let the excess run off the edge. Very forgiving. I'm liking where this is going. It's getting much softer towards the edges. So now I'm just fine tuning, and I keep looking up at my video screen that is recording the art piece. So I'm looking at my art piece on my table, I'm looking back up at the video screen, and I'm seeing where I need to add things, where I need to maybe take away, maybe an area might be too harsh, might be too soft, might need some harder edges, might need some softening. So during this whole process, it's all fine tuning. So if I need a harder line, I'm going to get closer down, kind of how I am right now with the airbrush. I'm going to get closer to that paper so that I can get those hard lines. If I need to soften an area, I'm going to add the isopropyl alcohol and hold the airbrush at a higher distance away from the paper to get a nice softer finish. And if I have too much excess, I can just pick up that paper and let it run off the edge. And you can see I've tried to keep most of the runoff in one section of my paper towel so that it just keeps the area cleaner. You're not getting a bunch of ink on the back of your painting for the most part. And if you do, you can always take a Q-tip with a little bit of alcohol, rub it clean, and it wipes very nicely. We built up some nice soft edges around the corners. We're building some nice depth in the center. Now I'm going to add in some of that maxated gold just to give the center some more depth. One thing I love about art is there's always something new to learn. Art is a journey, it's not a destination, so let's enjoy the ride. And along the way, we pick up tools and techniques that just enrich our art that much more. for now I'm just looking at the painting, trying to figure out, do I need more alcohol or do I need to dry a spot? But I decided to go with some more alcohol here. And I like to pick up the paper first when I'm working towards the center, because then I can really move that dark colors, the inks, and get them in like these little veins almost, or towards the edge of maybe a shape of an organic shape I'm building. And then once I see it, then I can take my blow dryer and just tack it down with the air and solidify it before I keep building. I did not like where that went, so no problem. Just going to add some more straight alcohol, swirl, and you know the rest. Just working that alcohol from side to side. Also turning the painting upside down, towards the side, vertical, horizontal, just getting a better feel for the composition will really help rotating the painting around. Sometimes it looks good from just one angle until you turn it, and then you can see, oh, it's really heavy on one side and it's not quite moving. It doesn't have that flow that you were looking for. Another great tip is, if you are getting frustrated, just walk away for a second. Just stop, take a breather, walk away, and then come back to it in just a couple minutes. Sometimes just going and getting a drink of water or going to the bathroom, stepping outside for a minute, that frustration can really show in an artwork piece. And sometimes you have to know, if you're feeling like that towards the art, it's time to maybe stop for a second. Or if you're feeling tired and you're thinking, oh, I can just rush this corner and just cut the corner, maybe that's a good time to stop and then come back when you're more refreshed, so that you can do the best job that you can. I love working with the alcohol paints because I have the most freedom, I feel, in all the mediums. From acrylics to oils, airbrush, I feel this one is the most organic. Oh, there's my little helper. Here she comes. She's coming to grab stuff on the table. Let me see. Put that down. I actually have two little art assistants, and I have a studio bunny. She's actually sitting under my feet right now. So I have my little studio assistants to help me along the way. So you're going to see little hands poking in and out every once in a while. And actually tomorrow is little Lily's birthday, and she's 4 years old. Oh, where does the time go? Okay, so now I really like what's going on here. I think it's time to add some more bling in towards the center, give it some more shine. So I'm going to add just a small amount of isopropyl alcohol, 2 drops of Mixative gold. I will leave the description, or links in the description down below. And I absolutely love how vivid this is. It is just beautiful. It's so shimmery and vibrant, and when the light just catches it, oh, beautiful. It's beautiful. And it really goes well with metallic folk art paint that I use for my subject, for my flowers. I'm going to flower, but they really work well together. Now that I got my gold ink down, I'm coming back in with that heat gun and I'm doing small circular motions towards the center and then lifting that gun off. Because like I said, that gun will work the paper. So I don't want to make that mistake twice. Oh my gosh, it's so cool. I just love it. And there we have it, guys. That is the majority of this painting as far as the background alcohol inks go. I just love the composition. I love where the colors are, the fades. I don't love that corner, so we're going to fix that real quick. And that's what I love about alcohol inks, is you can just do that. I'm just going to move this painting more and more over, and then we're going to start adding some artistic touches. Stay tuned. So I'm going in with a small number 2 round brush, and you can see me sticking out my pinky there. That is to keep my hand nice and steady when I come into the paper. I'm leaning all the way onto my pinky to keep my hand from shaking before I go down to the paper. That definitely is going to give me more control. Now, the more alcohol I have in my brush, the bigger the dots are going to be. So if I have too much alcohol, I can either shake it off like I did, or I can just touch my paper towel and then come into the paper. I'm just looking at the composition. Brushes here, I went in for a little bit smaller brush to give some more detail. And now I'm just finishing up the final details on this section, and then we'll move on to painting the subject. Alright, switching gears here, I'm going to show you my liner brushes that I'm using today, and surprisingly, they're not from an art store, and they work really well. So check out the description and see where I got these. Now I'm choosing a brush with the longest bristles, the longest pointiest bristles I can find, because that is going to give me the most control for these lines. And for our paints, we're going to be using the Folk Art Metallic Antique Gold. And I really like how this paint runs over the depot paper. It's really smooth. Now I'm using a wall stick to rest my hand over so that I'm getting very smooth lines. I made it myself. I went to the depot and I chose a square stick rather than a rounded one. I feel that it is more sturdy for me. When I put it up against my easel, it stays still, and then I just took a rubber band and wrapped some grippy material around the top. I'll show you in the video here shortly what the top looks like. Super high-tech stuff, guys, but it works well. And definitely this is the control that I need. So your supplies do not have to be top of the line. They just have to be functional to work. And when you can afford to, then you can upgrade. But for now, this stick is working just fine for me. Once I get to the point where I want to lift off, I lift the pressure first, then I lift my brush. So you can see that the bristles are straight, then they bend, and then they straighten out again. So that is the pressure I'm using. So straight bristles are no pressure, bent bristles, a little pressure, run your line, and then end with very light pressure. I had a big glob of paint on the end of my brush there. And some of these lines I'm going to have to go back over. I loved this gold, but I felt like it didn't quite stand out as much as I wanted it to, so I do go back with black Liquitex Basics Mars Black paint, and I do bolden up some of these lines. I don't go over all of them, and I wish my camera was on for that section of the video, but I do have some finished pictures, and I will have more videos in the future showing you how to do that. So now I'm just taking my time, going nice and slow. And now, if I were painting this without recording, I would be moving this flower horizontal, vertical, from left to right. And so I can get in all of those little petals a little bit better, but just for demonstration purposes, I wanted to leave it upright so that you can see exactly what I'm doing in there. As I'm painting these lines, I like to focus on my breathing as well, and exhale slowly while I'm dragging my brush along the line. And then once I lift my brush off, then I can take that breath. And when I control my breathing and my hand and my motion all in one flowing movement, my paintings tend to come out a little better because I feel like I was fully in that moment. And that's what art is for me. It's definitely just an escape. And it's absolutely a wonderful escape, especially from what's going on in the world right now. It's wonderful to just turn that off, turn off social media, turn off everything, quiet your mind, and just focus on something beautiful. finished piece. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!